What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman as we are live breaking down the latest around your favorite football team. Week 1 just around the corner. Football is back tonight. Eagles taking on the Cowboys in Philadelphia. And let's just start here. If you guys want the Vikes to beat the Bears, hit me with a skull down below in the comment section. We just got it. Both injury reports for the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings. So we'll get you guys the info there. But the biggest news from today's practice is that Harrison Smith and Christian Darrisaw were both not out there. So we'll discuss that here in a second. Let's give you guys some shout-outs. Shout out to Terry Cole in the building, Gavin in the house, the Purple Filth, Finley and Lucas, Caesar in the building, JT Money. Shout out to you, Brody, for tuning in. Easton in the building, Jacob in the house, Robert, Matthew, Connor, Lewis, Corey Miller, a bunch of real ones are ready to rock and roll. I'll say this. I love the fact that the Vikings, Monday night, taking on the Chicago Bears. I'm not going to be able to wait that long. That's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to have so much fun watching the games on Sunday. It's going to be a blast, but, man, it's going to be tough to fall asleep Sunday night. I might just need to down some NyQuil or something to help me go to bed because I'm way too excited for this game. But here's the big-time injury news for the Vikings. So Seifert tweeting this out, saying did not see Harrison Smith dealing with an illness, and left tackle Christian Darrisaw dealing with a knee at Vikings practice today. Darrisaw did practice yesterday, but said his short-term trajectory would be up to the medical staff and Coach Kevin O'Connell. So I think this maybe could have been a long-term plan by the Vikings where it's like, hey, Darrisaw, I still think they fully expect him to be ready to go for week 1, but it's like, hey, you practice one day, off one day. I don't think this is too concerning, but this is the full injury report here. Obviously, Darrisaw dealing with that knee DNP. Jalen Naylor was in full with that hand, so that's great news here. Xavier Scott, 4-string running back, did not practice. Harrison Smith, so they had it listed as a illness. Now, there's a lot of speculation on what this was because they just had it as a personal health issue. So it is confirmed that it is an illness, but he did not practice. Then Andrew Van Ginkel, his mystery injury was actually a neck, which is pretty concerning, but the non-concerning part is he did practice in full. And same with Elijah Williams, dealing with a hamstring injury, so he did not participate either. But some good news for some Vikings fans is the first injury report for the Bears did drop, and TJ Edwards, their best linebacker, dealing with a hammy, did not participate. And you also want to look at the Jalen Johnson injury, dealing with a calf and groin. He was limited. Kyle Monungai, their backup running back, was limited with the hammy as well. So there are some injuries for the Bears front, and if Jalen Johnson can't go, or if TJ Edwards can't go, that would be a massive loss for the Chicago Bears. So we'll wait and see. We'll get you guys updates throughout the week on that front. But let me ask you guys this as we welcome in producer Dylan to the show. Who are you guys most excited to watch on Monday? I'll put Dylan on the spot here. You can't say J.J. McCarthy, though, because I feel like that's going to be the most obvious answer, and also same to people down below in the live chat. Can't say J.J. Besides him, who are you most excited to watch?
I mean, I think it's got to be the second most excited person to watch, and it's Adam Thielen returning back in his Vikings colors,
100%.
Playing against an NFC North rival.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch Thielen play. That's going to be unreal. I can't wait just to watch Jefferson and Thielen when they're showing it on ESPN, those two warming up before the game. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we got Jonathan Allen coming in from Skull Nation. Excited to see Allen play. Gave him a boatload of money this offseason. Mine's Jordan Mason. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I am the biggest Jordan Mason stan probably on the internet right now. We dove into an ESPN article yesterday. Forget the name, but he projected Jordan Mason run for over 1,100 yards, and if that happens, the Vikings are going to want to win a lot of football games this upcoming year, because if he's going for 1,100, you're assuming Aaron Jones will still at least get maybe 600 to 800, and if you have 2,000 yards combined from those two guys, this rushing attack should be top tier. So I'm looking at Jordan Mason. His over-under actually from rushing yards week 1, it was originally set at 25.5. It has skyrocketed to 41.5. So maybe the bookmakers are starting to kind of get the vibe of what's going on in Minnesota with Jordan Mason. Should be getting probably 50% of the carries. It could end up being more. I could see Mason ripping off a couple of big-time runs early in this game, and then he's just the guy for the rest of the show. And I do think Aaron Jones will still make an impact. I just think Jordan Mason's the better running back at this point. Jones is older. dealt with some injuries. Now, will still make an impact in the pass catching game, but in terms of just being a pure running back, I gotta go with Jordan Mason for me. As Weird in the building saying, "Hey Pat, just started watching. Already a banger stream." Well, I appreciate you, man, for tuning in. Shout out to Purple Phil saying, "Yeah, also excited to see Hawk back at 100%. He wasn't really 100% at all this past season, so him having a full off season of just working on himself, working on his game instead of rehabbing should be huge. He looks great. Also, his beard and hair looks fantastic. He really looks like a Minnesota Viking. So excited to see that." There's Joshua Scott in the building. Easton saying, "Hi, Pat. What's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in." Joshua Scott saying, "I hope the Vikings are ready for a lot of screen and trip plays." Hey, Brian Flores, this is personal for him. He's taking on Ben Johnson, and if you scour the internet at all, talk about Vikings versus Bears, everybody is just saying how much Ben Johnson owns Brian Flores, and he has over the last couple of seasons. I mean, giving up 30-plus points in all four of those matchups. He actually had only 14 punts to 16 touchdowns. So he has been obviously Brian Flores' kryptonite over the last couple of years. So we'll see if that changes. Now, I think with the personnel the Lions had is significantly better than the Bears. Like, they had one of the best rushing attacks in the league. I can't see a situation where the Bears are able to run the ball against the Vikings. If the Vikings defense gives up a lot of yards on the ground, I will be incredibly concerned. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Flores is so good at just scheming stuff up, sending a lot of run blitzes on early downs. That was huge last year, and got a guy like Ivan Pace, Blake Cashman, and some good defensive linemen. So I'm ready to rock with Brian Flores. Hopefully, finally gets the better of Ben Johnson. But coming up on today's show, so we're going to be diving into 5 players to watch against the Chicago Bears. 5 guys who I think can turn heads and shock the NFL world this Monday night. And then also why the Vikings will shock the NFL this upcoming season. A little hype seg, recap in the offseason, and then we will dive into a mailbag. So if you guys want to get those questions in there, hashtag Vikings, or you guys can super chat on today's show. I haven't gotten a super chat just yet. If you guys want to be the first one to get on in there for week 1 of the season, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you guys are ready to rock and roll, hit that thumbs up icon. We got 170 people in the building, only 32 likes. If we could get up to 50 likes, we'll start today's show. But Gerald saying Mason goes for 130. Oh, if Jordan Mason goes for 130, I'll be the happiest man in the world. Alex saying I'm vibing for the 5 sacks, Seals victory for the Vikings. That would be fantastic as well. Roger Bong, what's going on, man? And Harvey Buxton in the building. A couple of real ones showing out on today's live show. Is Connor saying Skull Vikings. Shout out to you. But we're 10 likes away. We'll dive into the first segment here. Again, mailbag coming up. So get those questions in. Just use hashtag Vikings. Or if you guys want to super chat and support the show, that's a great way to do that, as well as forgot the name. I think it was Colton. Yeah, Colton Quinones. We just sent the Vikings helmet to you, so it should get there over the next couple of days. He won our raffle of getting a Winter Warrior Vikings helmet. So shout out to you. As Troy Allen in the building. Most excited to watch Xavier Scott. I love that answer from you. I was a little shocked, Troy, that the Vikings listed Ty Chandler as RB3 and Xavier Scott is RB4. One, I was just shocked Ty Chandler made the team, but that was a little interesting that they still had Ty Chandler ahead of Xavier Scott. I don't expect either of those two to get a lot of carries or even any carries during this Week 1 matchup, but we'll see what ends up happening. As we do have Roger Bong coming in saying, okay, here we go. LFG. Everybody give me a skull bong down below in the live chat right now. Show Roger some love, supporting the show. We appreciate you, my man, showing out as always. Roger, it's good to have you back in the building. Haven't had you over the last couple of weeks, but I know Roger will be showing out for Week 1 against the Chicago Bears. Shout out to Matthew Daniel. And then, my favorite name in the live chat, she ate my foreskin. And come on. Come on, saying Skull Bong. Caesar in the building, Connor, and then Mr. Toodles Noodles saying Skull Bong as well. So appreciate you, Raj, as always. He's saying you know it. Roger's a big game player. He doesn't need to show up for the preseason, but he'll show up for Week 1 in these big-time games. So shout out to you. Easton saying Skull Bong as well. Joshua Scott saying I can't be more excited for the JJ to JJ connection. Me too, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But, hey, we're at 51 likes. I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. A lot of content to talk about. Major injury news today was Christian Darrisaw did not practice. Same with Harrison Smith dealing with an illness. Van Ginkel should be ready to go. And then same with Justin Jefferson not in the injury report, which was great. So I'm still, if I had to put my money on it, Harrison Smith should play. I'm guessing Darisaw will play. Obviously, Van Ginkel, Jefferson, all those guys will be out there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch all these guys. Vikings should be at full strength for week one, obviously without Jordan Addison, but still got faith in this wide receiver room. So if you guys are ready to roll, give me a skull down below in the live chat, and we'll talk about 5 players that can shock the NFL world on Monday night. Let's dive on into it. Shout out to all of you guys for tuning in, and let's do it. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome on in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I want to dive into 5 players that can shock the NFL world on Monday night. Not the main guys. We're not talking about the Jeffersons, the Darisaws, the Gennards. A couple of unknown players where us Vikings fans, we know all about them, but they're going to put their name on notice this Monday night against the Bears. And speaking about that game, if you guys want the Vikings not only to beat the Bears, not only to move to 1-0, but to embarrass them and dominate them in their home building, give me a skull down below in the comments section. Make it look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. Spam those skulls down below. Now let's talk about 5 players to watch Monday night against the Chicago Bears. It's going to be a hell of a game. I got full faith in this team getting a victory in Chicago. Kevin O'Connell 3-0 in Soldier Field taking on the Bears. And, I will say this quickly. When you talk about 5 guys that are going to put their name on the map on Monday night, J.J. McCarthy is obviously the number one guy that is going to shock the NFL world the most. But I do want to dive into some others because I also have full faith in J.J. getting it done. I think even when we look back on it, I could even see us Vikings fans underrating what he is going to do heading into the season. So obviously he's going to put on a show. Let's talk about some other guys. Let's talk about my guy, Jordan Mason. I am the leader of the Jordan Mason fan club. Couldn't be higher on this guy. I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL right now, and he had a fantastic season for the 49ers this past year. And I think a lot of people, think about Jordan Mason, the success he had this past season, to say, oh, it was all Kyle Shanahan. He was the one calling the shots. Anybody could play running back in that system. I'll show you guys this. So this is RYOE on the bottom. Rushing yards over expected per attempt. Now, RYOE, next gen stats, every single run play in the NFL, they'll say, hey, this running back was supposed to get a certain amount of yardage on a given play. With Jordan Mason, got the most out of every single carry. He was up there for most rushing yards over expected per attempt. And also on the left side, this was going against stacked boxes. So 8+ defenders in the box. Jordan Mason was number 1 in the league in facing stacked boxes. So he had a lot of guys, a lot of attention on him, and he was still able to be super effective. And also, he was third next to 2 elite running backs. Like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley had unreal years this past season. And Jordan Mason was right behind him. 1.38 yards over expected per carry. That was 3rd in the National Football League. I couldn't be more excited to watch this guy play. And I understand free agency, like getting Will Fries, getting Ryan Kelly, getting Hargrave and Allen. We all love those moves. But I think the Vikings adding Jordan Mason will be the most impactful move they made this entire offseason. Now, that also combines with the offensive line with Fries and Kelly. But I think when it's all said and done, and we're talking about this football team at the end of the season, we're going to be looking at that trade with the Niners, be like, we only gave up a 6th-round pick for Jordan Mason, one of the better running backs in the league. Like, he is that good. I think he's got top 10, top 7 potential this upcoming season. He's a freak athlete, gets the most out of every single carry. So he's the number 1 guy that I think is going to put his name on the map week 1 Monday night. But number 2 here, shout out to Jalen Redmond. He got the nod as being the starting nose tackle for this group, which wasn't too big of a shocker. I thought it was either going to be him or maybe Elijah Williams or Levi Drake Rodriguez, but they went with the guy who's done it at a higher level in regular season games compared to those two. And if you guys remember, Jalen Redmond, he was completely balling out when he was playing with the Vikings this past season. Now, again, very limited action. Didn't really start playing it until week 12, I believe, of this past year, but still 208 snaps, graded out incredibly well, 77.2 overall grade. That was 13th out of all eligible defensive tackles. Pass rush, solid, but that run defense grade, 73.0. That was 16th out of 219 eligible defensive tackles. And, he's going to have to play a massive role for this defensive line because, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, at this point in their careers, they are more pass rush specialists. And losing a guy like Harrison Phillips, one of the best two gappers, one of the best run stuffing defensive tackles in the league, that did leave a massive hole in this defense. But with a guy like Jalen Redmond stepping in, I could see him just kind of being that cog in the middle of the defense and just embracing that Harrison Phillips role. Like, there was a reason the Vikings moved off Phillips. It Yes, it was to get extra draft capital. They clearly valued that, but they also had faith in the guys behind them, and a big reason for that was Jalen Redmond. Like, I have all types of faith in this guy. I think he's going to have a monster season. So shout out to Jalen Redmond. He has gone through a lot in his life. He was dealing with blood clots dating back to his time at Oklahoma, but he was a 5-star recruit. Like, this wasn't like a typical, UDFA where, they were under scouted or, they were underranked in their class and they just kind of, you know, weren't really that noticed. But Jalen Redmond, like, he was a 5-star. He was supposed to be a draft pick. He was supposed to be one of the better defensive tackles in his class. So thank the Lord the Vikings got him. But he's probably up there as one of my top breakout candidates on the Vikings roster. But I'll ask you guys this. Who is your top breakout candidate on the Vikings roster? Talking about a guy who, like a Jordan Mason, like a Jalen Redmond. We'll get to 3 more names here in a second. But you guys, I'm going to hear your thoughts here quickly. Who's your top breakout candidate on the Vikings roster? I'll get to 3 more players who could shock the NFL world this Monday night. But before we do so, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. And you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And if you guys download the app today, plug in promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. My favorite part about PrizePicks, it's super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, California, Texas, and Georgia. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They also offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And I already got my lineup for Week 1. Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears, and I think the the kickers are going to have a pretty big impact in this game. I got Santos making 2 field goals. I got Will Reichard going more on 1.5. Then I think Hawk's going to have a big time performance, more than 41.5 receiving yards. I'm also going to take J.J. McCarthy. Watch out for his legs this weekend. And then also Colston Loveland. Love that pick for the Chicago Bears. I hate to say it, but him only having a more or less of 28.5 receiving yards. Got to take the more on that. So if you guys want to, download the app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to PrizePicks, though, for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, let's dive into the other guys here. And can't wait for this game. I feel like the Vikings, like, even though they are they got some blue chippers. They got a lot of good football players at the top of the roster, but they also got some just sleepers and some breakout candidates. And a guy who's going to play a massive role for this defense, it's got to be Theo Jackson. Theo Jackson, the Vikings paid him this offseason a 3-year, around $10 million deal. And with the Vikes losing Cam Bynum in free agency, like, he is going to have him play a massive role because the Vikes, they run that 3 safety set 98% of the time. And Harrison Smith, a question mark if he's going to play. I still expect him to be out there, but if he can't, Theo Jackson's going to have to be on the field for every single snap. And also with the Vikings only having 4 corners on the roster, I could see them leaning into more, the bandit defense like we've been talking about here on the channel, but also watch out for a guy like Jay Ward. But it's not only week 1 Jackson's going to play a massive role. He's going to play a massive role this entire season. And I think he is a guy where Brian Flores clearly has some trust in him. He has some faith in him because, safety was a need for this team heading into the draft and free agency. They didn't bring anybody in. They like the guys they had in that room, and that guy being Theo Jackson. But number 4, I'm going to have Will Fries. Now, obviously Will Fries is already, a premier guard in the NFL, but I just don't think he's that well-known of a name when you are talking about some of the top offensive linemen in the league. And this guy was unbelievable before he got hurt this past season. Overall grade, 86.9. That was 4th in the league. Pass block grade, 74.9. That was 18th. And run block, he's a mauler in the run game. 5th in the National Football League. And again, very limited action before he got hurt. But if he can replicate that, man, he'll live up to this contract the Vikings gave him. He was the only player in free agency this past cycle to sign a 5-year deal. All the other contracts were either 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. Fries was the only guy to sign a 5-year contract. And could you imagine if this guy's an all-pro caliber guard, even though he's making $21.5 million in 27, 28, and 29, if he lives up to this contract, this could look like a bargain. So I could see him and just the whole Vikings rushing attack kind of making a name for themselves on Monday night. But another huge X factor in the secondary, it's got to be Isaiah Rodgers. The Vikings are probably going to run only 2 corners on the field majority of the time. One obviously being Byron Murphy. You can line him up all over, slot, outside, doesn't matter. But the same can be said for Isaiah Rodgers. Now, him last season with Philadelphia, Super Bowl champ, he played great. 76 overall grade, 80.6 in the run defense. Obviously, Flores asked his corners to tackle at a high level, but he also had a solid coverage grade. Now, this was in very limited action, so can he up that snap count? Can he up, his usage, but maintain the production? That's going to be a huge question mark, but the Vikes need him to play good because this cornerback room, it's, one, pretty thin with talent, but also just thin with bodies. Like, they're an injury away from kind of hitting the panic alarm and saying, hey, we got to go trade for a guy. But I fully expect Rodgers to play well. Brian Flores has been raving about this guy the entire offseason. And if Flores believes in him, he knows more about football than I will ever know, that anybody watching will ever know. So him having that faith in Rodgers, I'm all in on it. And then also, Rodgers does struggle. Try for a guy like Jeff Okudah. But I got full faith in Rodgers as well. Now, I'll ask you guys this to close out today's show. Who are you most excited to watch on Monday? For me, and again, you can't say J.J. McCarthy. For me, it's got to be Jordan Mason. Absolutely love his game. Love the way he runs the football. So you guys let me know. Who are you most excited to watch this Monday? Also, hit me up on Twitter. I'll be tweeting about the Vikings all season long. That's the handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. And if you guys do, I'll give you guys a follow right on back. But we appreciate all of you guys watching today's show. As always, let's go Vikes. Alrighty. You guys let me know who you're most excited to watch. Shout out to Roger Bong in the building. Alex Waters in the house saying, yes, sir. Great audience today. Over 220 people with us. I appreciate all of you guys. How are we feeling heading into the season? Are there any nerves? Because the one thing I am concerned about with myself personally, I'm not really nervous. And it could be a great thing, but it also, I just get my hopes up way too high. But I'm not really that nervous about this. I think the Vikes are going to go in there, and I think they're going to handle the Bears. I got full faith in them. But Corey in the building, Evan saying, I agree, Mason is my guy. I love Jordan Mason, man. I can't wait for because I know there's a lot of sickos watching our live show right now. They're all in on the Jordan Mason hype. But just the casual Vikings fans who maybe don't follow the offseason, they just tune in for the regular season, and they're going to look up on Monday night. They're going to be like, who the hell is this Jordan Mason guy? He's running crazy. I can't wait. Harvey saying, I am nervous. I think JJ will only start 6 or 7 games this season. That's not going to happen, Harvey. Harvey, are you putting in Wentz if JJ struggles in the first half on Monday? William saying the offensive line. Yeah, me too. Just the running game as a whole, I'm excited to watch. Alrighty. Now we'll dive into a mailbag here in about 20 minutes or so. So if you guys got a question for me, or if you guys got a hot take around this Bears game, please get those questions in there. We need more questions to do this mailbag. So if you guys could, hashtag Vikings, or if you guys want to super chat like my man Roger Bong did, great way to help us out. So I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could. But get those questions in there. Love chopping it up with you guys. Mailbags are my favorite videos I do because you guys lead the show. The whole program is built around you guys asking good questions. So if you guys got anything that you want to get off your chest, get a hot take before the season. This will be the last mailbag we do before the Monday Night Football game. Just add hashtag Vikings to your comment in the live chat. Or if you guys want to guarantee your spot, super chatting is the #1 way to do so. All right, so coming up, hype seg. You guys know I love doing this. You guys know I love getting hammered off the purple Kool-Aid. So we'll dive into that, why the Vikes will shock the NFL. And then also, like I said, a mailbag coming up here. So use hashtag Vikings in the live chat. Get those questions in there. It's Jared Avery saying, do you think the Vikes should sign Cam Akers? No, the Vikes should wait for Akers to sign with another team. Then we trade for him at the deadline. You know how it goes. Come on. Corner in need going in the 26th draft? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think the Vikings have a good chance at winning the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think they got a chance. JJ works out. They 100% have a chance. And I think he's going to work out. So it's like, if I believe in this coaching staff and I believe in this roster, because that's an undisputed thing. I think all of us believe in them. But if you also believe in JJ McCarthy, then you should believe this team can go out and win a Super Bowl. Also, shout out to Jamie Erdahl. Her Super Bowl pick was the purple and gold. Only person I've ever seen pick the Vikings to ever win a Super Bowl before the season. And she did just that. She should blow the gal horn week 2 at home against the Atlanta Falcons. If somebody's got any connection there who makes that decision, get Jamie Erdahl out there to blow the gal horn. So shout out to her, man. Minnesota's very own. There's Mark C in the building saying fade Siebes. You see my PrizePicks lineup, Mark C? I think it's looking good. I think it's looking good. Oh, Harvey, come on. All right, if you guys are ready to rock and roll, we'll dive into the second segment here. Awesome J.J. McCarthy quotes coming up. So we'll dive into that. Stay tuned. You guys are going to love this stuff around J.J. McCarthy. So let's dive on into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, is the NFL's worst fear about the Vikings coming true? We're going to talk about it on today's show, and you guys are going to love some quotes from J.J. McCarthy coming up here in just a second. But before we do so, this is an updated look at our Week 1 sub battle versus Bears Now. This channel is a wagon. They got over 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and we are closing in on 60K, but I want to beat them in the Week 1 sub battle. My guy Harrison Graham does great work for our Bears channel, but I want to beat them. So if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button today. Don't miss a thing. The season is finally here. If you guys are fired up and want to get more Vikings content on your YouTube page, hit that subscribe button. All right, so what is the fear? What is the NFL shaking in their boots about? It's if the Vikings have a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, and I understand he hasn't played a snap yet. He hasn't even played a game on the road yet, or thrown a pass on the road. Obviously, his first 2 preseason games being at home, but I think the Vikings got a dog at QB. And JJ was asked about his return to Chicago, and his answer will fire you guys up. This is what he had to say. He said, I feel like home is in Minnesota. It's just a business trip. Go down there, execute some football plays, and see what happens. So he's not even buying into like that nostalgic feeling where it's like, oh, I'm going back to my hometown. I'm going to see all my buddies. I'm going to see all my family. He does not care. All he cares about is going out there and executing some football plays. And that's what he's going to do. So just even having that mindset where he's not like, buying into all that hype. He's just trying to go do his job. And he's really built from that Tom Brady mentality, which is why I'm such a believer in him. But also, J.J. McCarthy, an absolute sicko. This was put out there in a recent article talking about his preparation for Dennis Allen and the Bears defense. Obviously, DA being the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, saying it's even about putting aside the notes he's taken on Bears defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. On his iPad, McCarthy will have copious color-coded bullet points on Allen's situational work, his personal tendencies, his schematic history, his philosophy, and his employer history, and more. Fire me the hell up. We already knew this about JJ, that he is a sicko. Whatever his ceiling is, whatever his max potential is, being a quarterback in the NFL, he will get to that ceiling. Is that a top 5 quarterback? Is that a top 3 quarterback? Who the hell knows? But whatever that ceiling is, he will meet that because this guy, it's all about football. It's all about winning games. He's lost 4 games since his freshman year of high school, which is just an unbelievable stat. But also more reason why to believe in the Vikings and to believe in J.J. McCarthy. I think the Vikings, and we were saying this last year, but I think it's even more true with the improved offensive line. They got the best support system in the NFL. And it starts up top. It starts with Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell is the most quarterback-friendly coach to play for in the league. Because obviously KOC being a quarterback, he understands the ins and outs, what it feels like to be out there on the football field. So that's number one. But then also, you got Justin Jefferson. You got Jordan Addison. You got Adam Thielen. And then you got a guy like TJ Hawkinson, who I'm guessing TJ, still in his prime. He wants to prove a lot of people wrong. Had a down year this past year coming off that torn ACL. So He's going to be ready to go, and he should have an improved run game. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, a top 5 offensive line. They put a lot of money into this roster, but just offensively, pick a hole on the team. There is none. Not at a single position, which I think the Vikings, maybe the Eagles are the only other team, but having 0 holes offensively, it's like the Vikes and the Eagles, and that's about it. So the support system is obviously number 1. And then number 2 here, you're going to have a top 3 defense in the league. I think it's going to be a battle between the Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Minnesota Vikings on who has the top unit in the NFL when it's all said and done. And it's going to start up front for this ball club because the additions of Hargrave and Allen are going to pay huge dividends, especially week 1 where the Bears' offensive line, they got a lot of praise. A lot of people are high on them, but it's going to take some time to build that continuity and that chemistry amongst those offensive linemen. But you have great defensive tackles. You have great depth. Like, I love Elijah Williams, TID, and obviously Levi Drake Rodriguez. But you pair all that up with one of the best edge rushing departments in the NFL. I mean, this defense has all types of potential. Like, I think Jonathan Grenard, this guy's one of the most underrated players in the league. Like, this guy's had 12.5 sacks past 2 seasons. Andrew Van Ginkel, one of the only players in NFL history, I think it was to have the 70-plus tackles, like 10-plus TFLs, 10-plus sacks, and 2 touchdowns. Like, he's fantastic. And then all behind him, you just got a guy like Dallas Turner, who's got some of the most ridiculous potential at the edge rusher department in the NFL. So you got 3 great edges. You got a great defensive line. It's all setting up for these guys to be dominant up front, and that's where it starts. Now, the one question mark with the Vikings defense is going to be the secondary. And if the cornerback room can just be middle of the pack, like let's just say when it's all said and done, the Vikes got the 14th best corners in the NFL. This defense has historic potential. Like, I'm not just talking best defense in the league. I'm talking best defense of the last decade because you have elite talent, and then you got that guy up top. You got Brian Flores. It's all, all little pieces of the pie that could make this defense so great. And, speaking about Flores, third reason to believe is I think the Vikes got a top 3 coaching staff in the entire NFL. And honestly, I think they have the best coaching staff in the NFC. And they probably have the best combination. If you just had to say offensive play caller, defensive play caller, probably one of the top in the NFL. And, I think when it's, when it's all said and done, and when we're talking about this Vikings team heading into the season, the biggest reason to believe in the Vikings is the coaching staff. Because you look at their team last year, did they have some good talent? Obviously. They lost Darisaw. They had a pretty terrible offensive line, at least in my opinion, especially on the interior. And the talent defensively is probably B-level talent. But that coaching staff got that team to win 14 games. Imagine what they're going to do this year with an improved O-line, improved D-line, just improved roster overall. Biggest reason to believe in the Vikings is because of KOC and Flores. And I'll tell you what, if you love yourself some Kevin O'Connell, just give me a skull down below. I was just really thinking about KOC, and I understand the huge narrative. He's got to win a playoff game. Like, he hasn't won a playoff game just yet. I understand that. This was supposed to be part of the rebuild. Like, we weren't supposed to be winning 13, 14 games 2 out of the last 3 seasons. But why did we? It's because of the head coach. And now he's got his quarterback. He's got his elite roster. I cannot wait to see what he's going to do. So if you guys love yourself some KOC, hit me with a skull down below. Now we'll dive into 2 more reasons why you should believe in the Minnesota Vikings here in a second. But today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, you and I make decisions every single day. But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the action this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And just download the app today, plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And it's super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and put some serious cheddar in your back pocket. And PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Speaking of the football season, week 1, Vikes taking on the Bears. I already got a lineup cooked up. I'm going to take the more on Santos, the Bears kicker, making 2 field goals or more. Same with Will Reichard. And then I think Hawk's going to have a massive bounce-back year starting this Monday night. I'm going to take us more on receiving yards. And don't sleep on J.J. McCarthy and those legs. 15.5 rushing yards. I'm going to take the more. And then I got to give some love to the Bears. I thought the Colson Loveland pick was fantastic. So I'll give the more on his receiving yards in this game. But if you guys could download the PrizePicks app today, plug in that promo code CLNS, and we'll get you guys hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Alrighty, so here are the first 3 reasons to believe in them, but also number 4, the breakout candidates on this team. Now, I think everybody gives, the blue chippers on this roster a lot of love for some good reasons. Like Darisaw, Jefferson, Grenard, one of the best trios you can have. But there's also some guys that could break out and take this roster where I already think it's top 5 in the NFL, could potentially make it the best roster in the league. And it starts with Jordan Mason. I think he's one of the most underrated backs in the league. He's supposed to have a massive year. But you also got a guy like Isaiah Rodgers where, kind of a slept-on corner, but Flores clearly believes in him a whole lot. And then a guy like Jalen Redmond as well. Like, he's one of the better interior defensive linemen on this team. And, people don't really know about him. So I'm excited to him kind of make a name for himself this Monday night. And obviously Dallas Turner, probably the biggest breakout candidate here. If he could kind of replicate, what a guy like Nolan Smith did or a guy like Jermaine Johnson did from their year 1 to year 2 jump where both those guys played limited action, only had around 3 sacks, but they took that next step once they started getting more playing time. So I could see that being the case for Turner. And also you got a guy like Theo Jackson. So you already got a top, roster in the league in my opinion. But if let's just say 3 or 4 of those guys end up, exceeding our expectations, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. And the final reason to believe, it's the quarterback. It is J.J. McCarthy. And it still drives me crazy. Whenever I see other people talk about this kid, they just don't know what they're talking about. And it all stems back to, Cowherd saying he doesn't have a strong arm. Michael Wilbon recently was saying he thinks J.J. McCarthy sucks. This guy gets more hate, more just unnecessary criticism than any quarterback I've ever seen without taking a snap in the NFL. The haters, the doubters will be proven wrong very quickly. Even my guy Harvey Buxton's going to be proven wrong quickly. And I got full faith in my guy, J.J. McCarthy. Hopefully he's the franchise quarterback here for a very long time. But you're in the most QB-friendly offense in the league. This guy's got all the traits you could want, a massive arm, good mobility. He's got a great mindset. He checks every single box. And honestly, I think us Vikings fans, I think we're underrating what he's going to do in year 1. I think I'm underrating what he's going to do in year 1, and I think he's going to go win 12 games. But if he looks like a top 10 quarterback at some point this season, the Vikes will be serious Super Bowl contenders. But if you guys could, show number 9. QB wants some love down below in the comments section. Type those 9s, and we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to today's show. See you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes. Alrighty, shout out to y'all for tuning in. Do you think Carson Wentz is going to really help JJ as long as they can relate to injuries early in their careers? Yeah, and that's why some people are freaking out about the Wentz signing. Like, oh, why did they do that? We should have had Max Brosen be QB2. They just needed a veteran presence in that quarterback room because you think about it. Like, we only see it out there on game day. But the day, going through the facility, in those meetings, having a guy like Carson Wentz, who just went on a Super Bowl run with the Chiefs this past season, was with the Rams and McVay back in 2023, so he understands the offense, and he has seen it all throughout his NFL career. So I like the pickup of Wentz, but I do think if, JJ abducted by aliens, I'm guessing Carson Wentz would step in there and be QB2. So I like that signing for him. But Brady then in the building. Ryan Manley, yeah, Wentz as QB2 was the right move, 100%. Rocky in the house as well. Finley and Lucas, and I can't wait for Monday night, Skull Vikings. Oh, you got no idea, man. You got no idea. And listen, especially covering the Vikings every single day, posting multiple videos a day, I just can't wait to have some real football to talk about. Where we're going to be breaking down the games every single Monday, preview videos going out Tuesday, discussing the latest injury reports, and then also the trade deadline rolling around, talking about all those wild trade rumors. I just can't wait for it, man. It's the best time of the year. It's funny. I saw a funny tweet. It was seasonal depression should be a real thing for NFL fans because it was immediately Texas Ohio State started this past Saturday. And I was like, oh, I'm feeling great. I love life. Football's back. All of my problems just magically disappeared once the NFL and college football got back in action. But The scroll saying JJ has only completed 430 passes since high school, and he's about to face Dennis Allen. You guys are cooked. You just don't know what you're talking about. Ryan Manley saying, bro, so stoked this season is about to start. Me too, my man. Shout out to Roger Bong. I've already gave my opinion on that. I could give 2 fucks if the Vikings have an all-male cheerleader squad. I don't care about the cheerleaders. I care about the football team. That's all I'll say there. Actually, one more thing. If you care about it, you're kind of a loser. Who cares? It does not matter. Corey Miller saying, I think TID will be a huge breakout star in the last 6 games of the season. Maybe he's like our Jalen Redmond this year. I mean, that guy's a freak, man. That guy's a freak. So can't wait to see it. But we do have Brozama, Ben Swaggin, best name on YouTube, coming in with a $10 super chat. We appreciate you. McCarthy grew up a Bears fan. First game he attended was the Vikings. Now, as a Viking, his first game is versus the Bears. Some things were just meant to be, 100%. Actually, the first game he went to was when Adrian Peterson ran for over 200 yards. Me and JJ went to the same high school in Chicago, Illinois. So seeing him, like I was a senior when he was a freshman in high school, and I remember when he was coming in, people were just raving about this guy. He's got a wicked arm, and then like just seeing him grow up in the Chicagoland area, went to Michigan, did great things there, winning a national championship. Like it's just been awesome to see him develop because, he is like a sicko, like we were saying. He has just gotten better every single year of his life, even dating back to high school. So, shout out to JJ, man. Shout out to the Nazareth Academy Roadrunners. Another guy in the NFL that went there, Julian Love, safety for the Seahawks. So maybe if the Vikings have a need at safety, JJ could recruit Julian to come to Minnesota. So, it's pretty cool stuff. All these photos of JJ wearing Bears gear, going viral on the internet right now. That's gonna be great meme material after this game, win or loss for the Vikings. So, shout out to JJ, man. Can't wait. What's up, JFR? Tuning in. Shout out to you. I was late. What is the bad injury news? It's just Christian Darrisaw didn't practice today, but I didn't know if that was just, part of the plan. But they're kind of thinking more long-term with Darrisaw. It's a long season, so it could be just, he's practicing one day, give him a rest day. I could see Darrisaw being on the injury report for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and then and it's just kind of being precautionary stuff. So I'm not really too concerned about it just yet. How is Harrison Smith doing? TBD. He did not practice today. They listed it as an illness. So there were reports out there suggesting that he was he'll be good to go. So we'll have to wait and see. Evan, that's hilarious. Shout out to you. But if you guys could get those questions in there, last call for our mailbag, #Vikings, or if you guys want to super chat to get up on the show, last call for the mailbag. Shout out to Marcos, man, getting one in there. Just put a question in the live chat, #Vikings, and we'll get your question up on screen. But if you guys want to guarantee your spot on the mailbag and support us here at Vikings Now, do a lot of hard work here, send a super chat is greatly, greatly appreciated. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, not on the injury report here, as I didn't even realize this. Shout out to you guys. We just crossed over 59,000 subscribers on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. That's awesome stuff. Let me ask you guys a question. How many subscribers were we at when you guys hit that subscribe button? Because 59K is absolutely ridiculous. So shout out to all of you guys, man. That is unbelievable. 59K. Can we hit 60K during the Bears game? We'll see. With Zazy saying 59K. Let's go. 11K coming in from She Ate My Foreskin. Still an incredible name. Ryan Manley saying Siep's haters are going to hate. JJ's a winner and it has some of the most dangerous weapons in the game around him, not to mention KOC, the QB whisperer, and one of the best play callers in the game. 110%. You were going for 20. Roger saying 23K. Yeah, screw the haters. Just some Packers fans. 100%. Yeah, JJ's nemesis is Donovan Jackson. It was so funny. He JJ kind of threw a shot at Donovan. He was saying, he's like, damn, I didn't know Donovan had that physicality in his game just because guys at Ohio State are normally soft. It was pretty funny. Yeah, but I'm fired up, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Watching Donovan Jackson, too, I think that's going to be a great rewatch when you go watch all 22 again. So that'll be a lot of fun. Anybody else on the injured list? It was Xavier Scott didn't practice. Same with Elijah Williams. So we'll monitor those injuries throughout the week. But Nothing too serious. But last call here to get on the mailbag. Hashtag Vikings or super chat to get up on the show. Get those questions in there. I would greatly appreciate it. Whatever you guys want to talk about with the Minnesota Vikings. If you guys got a hot take, if you guys got a question for me, everything is on the table. As we also have Ash Fishing coming in with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Saying, what is your prediction for all of our games? You were at 20-ish thousand when I subbed. Wow. But me personally, I've gained 16K since I subbed to you. That is awesome stuff, man. I appreciate it. Game by game record prediction. I did one on the channel recently, so if you want to go check out that video. But I think I remember I had the Vikings starting off 5-0. Again, maybe I'm drinking too much purple Kool-Aid, but I think the Vikings are just a better football team than the first 5 teams they're playing. Then I had them losing to the Eagles. Then they're 5-1, bouncing back against the Chargers. And then I think they went on a rough stretch, but in the end I had them going 12-5. And that 12-5 record, they were actually 10-5 heading into the last 2 weeks, taking on the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions at home. And I think the Vikings, like, that could be the, we just won the NFC North moment with those guys. But shout out to Tad in the building. How's Naylor doing? Full participant today, so he'll be out there, which is great stuff. The must-watch this game is Theo Jackson. He has the most to lose. Yeah, he's also got the most to prove, though, and the most to gain. Like, this guy just signed a $3 million per year contract. If he, plays great for a Flores defense that should be top in the league, might be a great value contract for the Vikings. Yeah, defense is going to pressure Williams so much. He's going to be sore after. I hope so, man. But again, last call for the mailbag. Use hashtag Vikings. Ash Fishing, appreciate you for supporting the show as always. But hashtag Vikings, get up on the show. I'd appreciate if you guys could get a question in there. Reed Southern, just put that hashtag on the Vikings, and we'll be able to pull your question. You got Naylor in fantasy, huh? Could be a sneaky play week 1 if he can get in the paint. Watch him have a Jake Reed kind of year. That would be big. Yeah, who do you guys think is going to win the Packers-Lions game? 325, Fox game of the week. I still think the Lions will win that. And honestly, I think we should be rooting for the Lions because it's in Lambeau. And plus, if the Packers lose, they're 1-6 in the last 7 divisional games. So keep your eyes out on that. Loveland will be playing. Loveland's going to be a problem. Yeah, Loveland is probably my biggest fear for this week 1 matchup. Alrighty, but we're going to dive into a mailbag here. Logan, what's going on? Yeah, tonight, baby, season starts. NFL's back. It's going to be awesome watching that game. But we're going to dive into a mailbag. So last call, if we're in the middle of the mailbag and you guys send a super chat in, we'll throw it up on screen. But hashtag Vikings, get those questions in there, and let's dive on into it. The NFL season is finally here, Vikings fans. And coming up on today's show, we just got a good old-fashioned mailbag where it's me and you guys chopping it up about our favorite football team and heading into the Week 1 matchup against the Chicago Bears. My name, of course, is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings now. Now, first question coming in here from Ash Fishing, saying, what is your prediction for all of our games? And he also said we were at around 20,000 subscribers when he subbed, but we gained around 16K since I subbed to you. We actually did just cross over 59K here on YouTube, so shout out to all of you guys. Maybe we could hit 60K by kickoff, so if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. But my game-by-game record prediction, so I have the Vikings starting off 5-0. I think they're just a better football team than the first 5 opponents, being the Bears, Falcons, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns. Then after the bye, you got the Eagles at home, had the Vikings losing that, bounce back short week, beat the Chargers in Los Angeles. Then I had them losing to the Lions in Detroit, losing to the Ravens at home, but then beating the Bears, losing to the Packers in Lambeau, beating the Seahawks in Seattle, beating the Commanders at home, beating the Cowboys. I actually had the Vikes losing to the Giants on the road as a little bit of a trap game, but then I had them finishing out the season, beating the Lions and the Packers at home. All comes out to 12-5. That's my official record prediction for the season, 12-5. Vikes win the NFC North and hopefully win a playoff game this season. Jacob Dawn coming in saying, Pat, if Darisaw doesn't go, how much you trust Justin School? Obviously, there'd be a fall-off between Darisaw and School, but I still think School is a high-end backup in the NFL. Like, the Vikings clearly sought him out during free agency, School did a great job filling in for Tristan Wirfs this past season. Graded out very well according to PFF. So shout out to producer Dylan. These are his PFF grades. 69.2 overall. So that's 43rd in the league out of all eligible tackles. You'll take that for a swing tackle. Very good in the run blocking game as well. So even if it's worst case scenario that Darisaw can't go, and we might get a report on this while you guys are seeing it, I got some faith in School, and it's also not like the Bears. Like, it's not like you're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers and TJ Watt. Like, you're going against Montez Sweat, a bunch of nobodies around him. So, yeah, if Darisaw doesn't go, I trust Justin School a decent amount there. But, Jacob, I appreciate you for getting that question in there. But, yeah, I trust School. Obviously not as much as Darisaw, because Darisaw is one of the most premier left tackles in the league. So, we'll see. Roger, what's going on, man? What line are you more interested to see? Defensive line or offensive line? This is a hell of a question by Raj. Man, that's tough. What am I more interested to see? Probably I'm more intrigued by the offensive line just because you have 4 new starters. Like, at the end of last season, it was Cam Robinson, Blake Brandell, Bradbury, and Dalton Reisner next to Brian O'Neill. And now you have Darisaw, Jackson, Kelly, and Fries. So I'm probably more intrigued by the offensive line. But I think the defensive line will be better. Like, I think the D line, when we're talking about it at the end of the season, we're like, yeah, Vikes had the best defensive line in the league. They were wrecking havoc. They have great depth, great edges, great defensive tackles, 2 good linebackers also in that front 7. So probably more intrigued to see the offensive line, but I'm just interested to see the whole team play. But yeah, I'd probably go offensive line for that one over defensive line. But that's a hell of a question, Roger. Appreciate you. Name of the year. She ate my foreskin. Unreal. You might have to get a new name. I know you're a diehard viewer of the channel, but this is incredible. Hashtag Vikings. Do you think Ben Johnson's play action game is going to be as effective with the Bears? If so, how will Flores stop it from running us down the field like last year? I don't think it's going to be as effective. Now, when he was with the Detroit Lions, like, you had Jahmyr Gibbs, way better than DeAndre Swift. David Montgomery's better than DeAndre Swift. You also, last year for the Lions, past 2 years, you had one of the best offensive lines in the league, one of the best linemen in the league in Penei Sewell. So I would be absolutely stunned if we're talking about this game Monday night when it's all said and done, and we're like, oh, the Bears ran all over the Vikings. I don't think that's even a possibility. Now, I understand Ben Johnson. He's got some great play design. Like, the Bears will be a better offense than they were this past season, but I just can't see a situation playing out where they're running on the Vikings front 7. So I don't think it will be as effective. Now, how will Flores stop it? You heavy run blitz on first and second down, which he did this past season. Also, you got a secret weapon in Ivan Pace, which we all know what he's about. But yeah, I'm not really that concerned about the play action game for the Bears whatsoever. I just don't think they're able to run the ball. I think if the Vikings lose to the Bears, it's like Caleb Williams has I'm a top 10 quarterback in the league moment right now. But in terms of them just running the ball, don't think it's going to happen. The Purple Filth coming in. Do you think we're waiting to see how things are going to work out in our secondary and dress it further then? Yeah, 100%, man. Obviously the Vikes only having 4 corners on the roster. Like, people are kind of like, what the hell is going on? I just think they're going to wait this out and see, like, hey, what if Jeff Okudah lives up to that draft pedigree? What if Isaiah Rodgers lives up to who he's been over the last couple of years? Now, if it doesn't go well, I can see the Vikings maybe getting aggressive at the trade deadline, because there will always be teams where you think they're going to be good, they're not as good, they're sellers at the deadline. And with the Vikings have a very gettable schedule the first 5 weeks, I think they should be big-time buyers, and you still have around $30 million in cap space. So they're probably waiting on that deadline. If they view this team as a Super Bowl contender, they get aggressive and they go make some plays. But I agree with you. I think they're just waiting it out and seeing what's going to happen. But Monday Night Football, Vikings taking on the Bears. Can't wait. I'm going to have trouble sleeping. I'm already going to have trouble sleeping. I'm just way too excited. You guys let me know who you got. Give me a V for the Vikings. Give me a B for the Bears. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Who you got in week 1? Chicago, Minnesota, Monday Night Football. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll dive into more of your guys' questions here in a second, but today's episode of Vikings Now is brought to you by PrizePicks, and you and I make decisions every single day. But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks. where it's good to be right. And if you guys download the app, plug in promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. And PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. I love PrizePicks. Made a lot of good money this past football season, putting some cheddar on the Vikings. But here's my lineup for week 1 of the season: Vikings, Bears. I got both kickers making 2 field goals in this game, and then I'm going to go Colston Loveland, more on his receiving yards, more on J.J. McCarthy rushing yards, and more on T.J. Hawkinson receiving yards. So if you guys want to fade those picks or ride with those picks, just do so at PrizePicks and download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS, get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to PrizePicks, though, for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. I remember a game last year, Vikings-Falcons, when the Vikings completely torched them. And, Addison had 3 touchdowns. Jefferson had 2 touchdowns. I raked in on PrizePicks, so make sure you guys take advantage. But Noah Carl saying, do you truly think the Vikings will win the division, or will we make it as a wild card? I think it's on the table they win the division, of course. I'm giving my prediction that they will. I just think when you look at this team, the combination of the coaching staff and roster, it's the best in the division. Like, the Vikings have the best roster. They have the best coaching staff. It comes down to McCarthy. Well, what am I? I'm a believer in JJ. So if I believe in JJ, you already got the best roster. You already got the best coaching staff. I think they could win the division. It's so funny the way other people talk about the Vikes is they always say, like, oh, what if JJ McCarthy's a bust? What if he doesn't work out? Well, what if he does? What if he's a top 10 quarterback? What are we going to be saying about this football team? So, yeah, 100%. I think they can win the division. But even if they make it as a wild card, I still think that would be a successful season. It's just going to come down to playoff time. Can you go get that playoff win? I think KOC, that's something that's really bothering him. You can win all the regular season games you want, but if you're not winning playoff games, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. But Noah Carl, I appreciate you. And then my guy, Harvey Buxton, coming in saying, do you think the Vikings, or if the Vikings want to be a contender, we need a cornerback? And if so, which one do you think we should get? Well, I already think they are a contender without any additions at the cornerback spot. But if so, which one should we get? It's kind of tough to say right now. Like, teams aren't giving up their top corners at this point. Like, every team is kind of in that honeymoon phase where all fans think they're going to be better than they are. And, I'm a victim to this too. Like, I probably think the Vikings are going to be a little better than they actually are. But no team is just moving off a top corner. Like, there's a Trayvon Diggs out there that you can maybe get. But I think the Vikes, kind of like what Purple Phillips was saying earlier, they're just going to ride it out and see what happens. Then if they do need to make a move, well, that's why you added all that extra draft capital. That's why you still have $30 million in cap space. Where if it really is a, break glass in case of emergency at the cornerback room, you at least have some ammunition to go pull off a massive trade. So, yeah, I think they're a contender even if they don't make a move at the cornerback spot. Brozama bin Swaggin, elite name. Who do you think is the biggest threat against the Vikings this upcoming game? Colston Loveland. The Vikings did struggle a little bit against tight ends this past season. And I understand the Bears kind of got dogged on at the NFL draft for taking Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. I think that was the right call. I think Colston Loveland's going to be a premier tight end in the league for years to come. He really does remind me of a guy like Travis Kelce, 6'5", ridiculous breaks in and out of his routes. That's the one guy where it's like, if him and Caleb have that connection going, that could be his go-to guy. But the Bears' defense doesn't really scare me too much, especially with the injuries to Jalen Johnson and T.J. Edwards. But Colston Loveland offensively, we saw what Ben Johnson did with a guy like Laporta, and I think Loveland's better than Laporta, at least a better prospect than him. So he is the one guy that, is a serious threat to the Bears potentially winning this game. Marcos, man, what's going on? If the Vikings win this Monday, what is your instant reaction after the game? It depends on how the game goes. Like, J.J. McCarthy balls out, and he has 303 in his hometown on the road. Probably saying this team's a Super Bowl contender, more than they already are, in my opinion. But we'll see. Like, I think this game's going to be a slugfest. I think it's, there will be growing pains with JJ. Like, he'll have a couple of drives and a couple of throws. You're saying, what the hell was that? But I also think on the opposite end, he'll have a couple of throws. You're like, oh, that's why the Vikings took him 10th overall. And it's so funny. People treat JJ like he is a make-a-wish kid for this football team. He was the 10th pick in the draft. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He went to IMG. He was coached by Jim Harbaugh and won a national championship at Michigan. Can't wait to see him really put that on fruition and put the NFL world on notice. Be like, yeah, JJ McCarthy, he's not just a product of his environment. He's a true winner, and he's a true elite quarterback. Skull Nation, what's going on? Saying, hot take, Jeff Okudah will live up to his original expectations. Being the top 3 pick in the draft expectations, Skull Nation, I love your optimism. If that ends up happening, and if Okudah, because by that standard, he is corner 1 for this ball club, the Vikings defense will be historically great. We're talking 85 Bears. We're talking early 2000s Ravens type of defenses for this football team. If Okudah pops like that, being a true cornerback 1, a top 10 cornerback in the league, sky's the limit for this defense. So I love the hot take, Skull Nation. I appreciate you. But it is game week. It's Bears week. Let's close it out here. If you guys want the Vikings to beat the Bears, flood the comments section with those skulls. And we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to today's show. See you guys next time. Let's go Vikes. All righty. It's football time, boys. Hey, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're going to hop on out of here, though. Dylan and I off the next 2 days, going to be rested and ready to roll for Monday. Have a video coming out Sunday. I might do a reaction to the Packers-Lions game. Make sure you guys tune in then. But audience was fantastic today. Almost 2,000 people tuned in. So really, just thank you guys so much. Support on the channel. It's always unreal. Crossed over 59K subs. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. All of you guys tuning in. It really makes this job the best job in the world. It's Roger, yeah, because it's all because Roger was here. Wazazy, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Manley, Corey, Finley. She ate my foreskin. Even you. Always a pleasure to be here. But we're going to get on out of here. Shout out to all the real ones for tuning in today. We appreciate all of you guys watching. And as always, let's go Vikes.